You with us or not?
I'm in. Nothing has been what they said. That's why they try to steal from the Eagles. But just know this, no matter what happens, it's the birds who are going to benefit. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, kick ding back here. So the combine is done, and I gotta tell you, it made a big impression on me. There are a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the scouting combine, and to me, it has changed with some of the ways that I'm thinking about how the Eagles should approach this draft. And you know, we're gonna get into all that at a later time, but I will answer the one main question I get about the combine. Is there one player that I look at and say, yes, if the Eagles have a chance to get him, they got to jump on it? And yes, I have. And you probably know his name, Kenyon Sadiq. If somehow the Eagles get an opportunity to get this kid, you should jump on it. He ran a 4.39.40. It was the fastest time by a tight end ever. Now, that's not why I say you should go out and get him, and that's not why I'm impressed with him. I'm impressed with him because of everything. And the most important thing was, apparently, in the interview process, he blew everybody away. And if the Eagles are high on him, they should get him. I think that before the combine, they had a chance. Now that the combine is over, he is going to go way higher than the Eagles may have an opportunity to get him. And the only way may be a trade-up. So, do I think the Eagles should trade up for him? If he falls in a reasonable area where they can do it, do it. Okay? That's what I would say. He totally blew me away at the combine. And we'll get way more into the combine with the players and everything going on with the draft. But one of the things that comes out of the combine that nobody talks about, or not a lot of people, is what's going on with the team. Because remember, this is a chance where you get multiple teams, multiple front offices. They come and they go out there and they talk to each other. They negotiate. They kind of figure out where and what people want. This is when trades heat up. And a perfect example of that being the case, it's right here. We heard during the combine that, in fact, David Montgomery, the running back of the Lions, wanted a trade. And guess what? He was traded. Ian Rappaport said this: the Pound Lions are trading standout running back David Montgomery to the Pound Texans, landing Houston a productive power back per the insiders. And then an update on what the deal was, just so you kind of get the idea of his value. It was the Texans' fourth rounder, offensive lineman Juice Scruggs, and a seventh rounder for David Montgomery. So with the player who's valued at a fourth rounder and then the seventh, it's technically got fifth round value for David Montgomery, okay? And the funny thing is we heard during the combine he wanted out. Now he's moving on. So this goes to show you that when these teams start to meet and they start to talk, this is like right around the time we're going to start to see trades happening, things going down. And as far as the Eagles went, there are two things that we got to talk about in terms of what the front office and the organization is going to do. Thomas R. Peterson wrote this, and this was based on Jeremy Fowler. Eagles will try to make an in-house splash. Eagles will try to make in-house splashes in an attempt to re-sign Jalen Phillips. Extending Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter is on the table as well. I will say this. I believe Jordan Davis is the most likely scenario out of the three things being signing Jalen Phillips and extending Carter. I think Jordan Davis is a must. First off, he creates a lot of money in cap space, which the Eagles need. And you know he's not going anywhere. He's in their long-term plans. Now, as far as Jalen Phillips goes, I think it's a 50-50 shot. I think the Eagles are going to make an attempt, but I think if team pays, I would say north of $25 million, 25 or up, I think the Eagles are going to be out on it. I think that they don't want to do that. But if it's somewhere in the $20 to $24 million range, I think they would probably take a chance on that. You know, the thing with Jalen Phillips and the thing with Vic Fangio is he fits what Vic Fangio likes to do. It's not all about sacks with Vic, as you know. He likes his edge rushers that can cover. He likes those guys that drop back and cover, and I expect that's what he's going to do. And that's one of the reasons why he would want Jalen Phillips. So I think there's a 50-50 shot that Jalen Phillips gets signed. I think there's about a 90% shot that Jordan Davis gets signed to an extension. And the question will be this: if the Eagles, and to this is the whole key to pretty much the offseason, in my opinion. See, when we deal with free agency, to me, the key to free agency is what happens with the Jalen Phillips signing. Okay, if the Eagles sign Jalen Phillips, then I think you're going to see them continue to do in-house things. You'll get some middle of the road small signings, but nothing huge. If Jalen Phillips doesn't sign, I think you've got one big move in, maybe a Max Crosby trade, something like that with an edge rusher. I think it will be an edge rusher. And then the draft, when you look at the draft, to me, the key to the draft is A.J. Brown. If you trade A.J. Brown, then you're going to have to get yourself a wide receiver. Even if you trade A.J. Brown for a future one, you're going to have to go out and get yourself a receiver probably in the first round. So, to me, Jalen Phillips and what happens there really affects free agency. To me, what happens with A.J. Brown really affects the draft. That's kind of how I see it. And, you know, I find it interesting that we're getting a lot of articles out, a lot of talk over the course of the last week of the Eagles think Devontae Smith has got big year coming and he's going to fit this offense. And regardless of what happens to A.J. Brown, this is Devontae Smith's year. I kind of think that tells you that there's a possibility that A.J. Brown may get moved. There's an excerpt from The Athletic. It said, regardless of what happens with Brown, there's internal sentiment that Devontae Smith has another level he can reach, and the Eagles can create an environment for Smith to reach it. And I mean, we all agree. I mean, we know Devontae Smith's a number one wide receiver. He is, okay? And he shared the spotlight with A.J. Brown. I mean, he even took less in an extension so that he could basically be a situation where they could keep A.J. and him. Okay, and I thought LB, his live stream was fantastic yesterday. LB, shout out Lord Brunson. If you guys get a chance, go check it out. But he was talking about, you know, stuff that he heard privately from somebody about AJ, and that AJ did request a trade from the Eagles. I believe that probably happened. And he still didn't think they were going to trade him because of the money. But he made a good point. And I've said this before too. If the guy really doesn't want to be there and his head's not going to be in there, is it even worth keeping him? That's the question. Because if the guy doesn't want to be there, if his heart's not in it, what's the point? And I got to say this, all right? I want A.J. Brown to stay. I think he will stay. I think he needs to do a better job controlling his emotions, especially when it comes to not allowing it to affect your play. But, dude, if you don't want it to be here, then I don't know what else the Eagles can do. This team, in my opinion, has treated him great. They traded for him, gave him a huge contract, the money he wanted. Then 2 years later, they ripped it up and gave him a new contract. All right? And they took him to 2 Super Bowls. He won one. I mean, I don't know what else he wants. I guess it comes down to this, and LB said this. Does A.J. Brown want to win or not? Because if you want to win, you stay in Philly. Because the Eagles are set up to go back to the Super Bowl. That's what they're setting themselves up for. Okay? So the A.J. Brown situation is crazy to me. I'll make it real simple. What would I take? Because there's a lot of talk now. They're saying that the Patriots are saying the Eagles are unserious. They're actually got media people out there talking like the Eagles in a negative way, saying they're unserious about wanting to trade A.J. Brown because they don't want to give him away for nothing. It's so ridiculous how bad they hate the Eagles. And I don't care that they do, but it's so true. They hate us, and as soon as we get something going, they want to tear it up any way they can. Whether it's, talk trades into existence or to try to ban tush push. They don't talk about banning tush push because the Eagles stopped running it. Now, isn't that very interesting? These mother humpers. So, to me, I'll make it simple. You want A.J. Brown? I need a 2027 first round pick. That's it. First round pick in 2027. Minimum. Now, if you want to throw me in a fourth or a fifth rounder in 2026, fine. I don't want a 2026 first round pick. I want a 2027 first. You deliver that to me, then I will seriously think about it. However, at the end of the day, I don't want to move him. Don't want to move him. Things are getting mother humping interesting. Hang in there. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. You think the Patriots are bad trying to steal our players. The Cowboys are already tampering as well. But we'll talk about that on the next video. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Us or not? I'm in. I know that everybody's sick of the A.J. Brown crap. I am too. But I do got to say this. It sounds like if the Eagles were to move him, there's multiple interest from teams. That means you've got multiple teams bidding for him. The value is just gone up of what A.J. Brown is and what the Eagles can get. Denzel Washington. Out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.